Hey guys, it's Kyle with Mainville UTV and Outdoors, and today we have an interesting project. So what we have here is a friend of mine has a Defender HD10, and what we're going to do is put a spare battery in it so it has double the capacity for accessories. That's essentially what he wants to do, and he's going to have a boatload of different accessories down the road in the future, and we'll get to it. Kind of skimming over the instructions, and it seems like they want us to tilt the box and remove this plastic bit because it's actually going right down here underneath the driver's seat, which is a good spot. It makes sense. It's well protected too, and I can easily route the wiring, and this way we can wire it up and it'll be safe, and you can actually still access it if you need to charge it or whatever you need to do. So that's pretty exciting. I can't wait to get into this. It's an interesting machine. I took it for a little drive, and I can't say it's for me, but I can see how it's appealing for sure. Very cool. Let's get to it. Roughly laid out, this is what's actually going to carry his spare battery, and that's what's actually going to get placed inside here behind the driver's seat. There's some cable to run to the other battery, isolator or relay, I'm not sure, and just some contact bars. This is going to hold down the battery, relay, and some extra wiring, but it's pretty simple kit. They actually have really fantastic instructions, and all of your fasteners and grommets and rubber mounts and everything to keep this thing from shaking to death. So it's looking pretty good. I like what they have here, and they actually have a plan. Some of the best instructions I've seen yet. I don't actually know who makes the kit. I'm asking the owner where he got it, and I'll make sure all the information's in the description. And we're gonna start by removing this bit here, and likely the door, just because it's in the way of the plastic. So this is all gonna come off, and then we'll have some room to work to start mounting everything, and then we'll come up with a plan of attack on the rest of it. So pretty excited to see how this is going to turn out, and then later on in the future we can move on with all the other accessories he wants to do. So as per the normal, nothing can go easy. So this individual has an aftermarket, or it's Can-Am's actually, but it's like a side protector steel plate, and they have it riveted all into the pieces that I have to remove. And I don't really feel like drilling out rivets and re-riveting everything. So I may have to do it the hard way and just kind of peel this back a little bit and get in there and see what I can make happen. Not the best scenario, not exactly what I wanted, but I don't usually get what I want mechanically. Very few of those jobs happen. So I'm gonna see if I can make it work without pulling all this off. Not a huge deal. And we'll go about it a different way. But normally, like I was saying, if you don't have these, or if you do and you feel like drilling them out, go ahead. But normally you can take off this whole side cover. All it is you take off, if you have a door, it's just an Allen size head, and then you have a couple Torx and a couple push pins. You pull those out and everything comes up right out real simple. It took me like, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe. So normally you could do that, and you don't have to do what I'm about to do. So try this the hard way, I guess. So after a bit of struggle, not too bad, I ended up getting the carrier in there, and all it is a bunch of 3/8 bolts. There's two on the bottom that you can access by your driver rear tire, and then one that goes by the support frame for the cab. And you can do all of it without actually removing the plastic bit I was talking about earlier, but it is nice that I was able to just peel it back ever so much that I could get back there anyway. But it's in there solid now. They'd also asked me to put 3 rubber grommets through it. That's basically to isolate the battery inside the carrier, and then 1 clip that actually is the receiving end of a bolt, and that's what's actually going to keep your battery in there. So that took me about I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and not so bad. So we'll probably slap a battery in here and start routing some wires to the other battery with the isolator, and everything will be good. Not too bad. Okay, so there you have it. It's mounted, it's secure. You can see the little cross bracket that mounts into the plate, little 10mm bolt. And it's in there solid, so now we have to start routing wires off. I think it's going to end up being a really good unit. I like it's very professional, well-built bracket. Their instructions are incredible. I really got to find out who made this kit from the owner so I can show you guys. And like I said before, it'll be in the description. But really happy with the way this is turning out so far, and now it's time for the real battle and doing the electrical. You know what they say about electrical, it makes young people old and old people crazy. But this is a simple job, so not a big deal. It's warm out though, putting a sweat on. Okay, so now that we have the battery in, we're going to start running cables. But I wanted to prep the receiving end, so we have an isolator and a relay and just a bank. And this is what we're going to use to isolate the second battery, so that you basically don't have too much power going to your accessories. You can isolate one battery so it's still getting charged, but it's isolated. So this is definitely a necessary unit you're going to have to get with your kit. If you try to do this yourself, you can definitely order isolators on their own, and you'll just have to figure out the wiring. But I'm prepping one plate. I think I'm going to move it to a different spot than where they're recommending, just because I don't like what they're doing. But that's up to anyone who does this. But now that this is all together here, it's all going to start getting wired up. I've got it all prepped. So we've got the isolator mounted and the relay. I had to crimp a ground wire for the isolator. So I soldered that and put some shrink wrap over it, just because I don't like these cheap Chinese insulators. Not that they're really even doing anything, but then we're going to go ahead and mount this whole plate with all the products I was just talking about, and then start wiring it up. Looks like a bit of a mess, but I should be able to figure that out, no problem. Once that's done, I can connect both batteries and give it a test shot. Okay, let's catch you guys up. So as we know, it's all mounted up. I have a negative mocked up to the frame up here. Back there, that's where they wanted it. And then I have the positive lead just zip tied right here, and it's running through the stock location in the center of the cab at the back of the engine. And you can see a channel right here. This is just a cover taken off, so you can see that I ran that lead all the way up and under the dash to a very tricky location where we're working. So you can see a stock bank there, and what that is there is basically the controls, and we're going to tap into that for the second battery. So it's going to go from that bank to this bank to our relay and regulator. So it's all going to be in here essentially, that controls the second battery. It's a tight space to work, but we're going to tap into everything, and then we'll connect the battery, and this system will be pretty well tied up. It's definitely a bit of work, but simple enough anyhow. Okay, so now we get to the hard bit, is messing with the stock terminal location to adapt to our new terminal and add in our new plate here. So that's going to go on the side of that box, and then we're going to be tapping into all of this. So it's quite the tight space to be working with, and we'll see how this goes. But I got it all removed in there. I put that terminal in there on the wall, and then I added my plate with my relay and everything. Put it all together, start connecting some wires, and find out if I have a fire or not. Okay guys, so this was a bit of a nightmare. They wanted everything done in a tight space like this. I'm assuming the owner has a cover here that covers all this, so that's why they chose the location. Plus the stock bank is right there. So everything gets wired off of this. That blue light indicates that it's working. So that's good. And I did check with my meter at the battery that it was receiving charging voltage. So it was somewhere a little over 14 volts, which is perfect. And when you shut it off, it drops down to a regular like 12.2 to 12.7 volts, which is regular charge for a 12 volt battery. Well, 12.6. So that was quite the job getting all of that in there. My fingers are a little bit too big for little 10 mil bolt nuts that are all together like that, but it worked out pretty well. It's obviously not on fire, which is fantastic. The instructions, although good, could be better. I know I was praising them at the beginning, but when you look at this rat's nest of a little graphic to actually try and put all this together, I started having to do some testing and making sure what goes where myself, because I couldn't trust this myself. So no, it worked out pretty well. I double checked all the work, made sure the battery cable isn't going to rub on anything down there, so I zip tied it all up, and pretty happy with the work. So now I just got to put all this back together that I didn't have to take off, slap a door on, and go for a test drive. So there it is. That is our second battery kit, and I'm sure you'll see the machine back in the future for accessories and things like that. He has a couple things planned that I'm pretty excited about. But I'll leave it until we actually get there. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any questions or advice, tips, whatever you got, I want to hear about it. All right. Now that the job's all done, I got the go-ahead to take Diesel for a ride, drop the vehicle off to the owner. Right, Diesel? Hey, buddy. Hi. Okay. Let's go for a ride, eh? All right. He doesn't live far from me, so okay. No funny business going on. Okay. Oh. Safety first. Sometimes. Ow. There. Okay. Holy jeez, this thing's tight. All right, buddy. Good to go? Good boy. So like I said before, I'm not much of a side-by-side guy, but I'll definitely take one for a ride. No problem with that.